Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope everyone's doing really well. Changing up the scenery a little bit this week. I know I'm tired. You guys are probably tired of me sitting in the exact same spot week after week. So this is just a different side to my apartment. Same place, just move some stuff around. Hopefully it's refreshing. This week's video is going to be a little less technical. Just accumulated some books that I have lying around my apartment, and I thought it'd be cool to review some books with everyone. And behind every book, there's actually a small story, so we can do a little bit of storytelling, and it should be fun. This has been a pretty popular question. What are the best books for this? What are the best books for that? And there are so many books on so many different topics that all you can really do is just explore. There's not going to be one book to like rule them all. Just go find some books, go read some Amazon reviews. If it has 4 or 5 stars, just buy it and it'll probably be a good book, all right? So I'm not gonna tell you what book is the best book. I'm just saying go explore some. So I have a stack of books that I got together. It's right here. We're gonna run through this stack, talk through each book I own. I didn't really organize it too well. It's a big stack right here, and we're gonna go through them one at a time. Before we do that, I just wanted to give a quick thank you. Earlier this week, I hit 10,000 subscribers, so it's like a pretty cool milestone. It's like one order of magnitude more than 1,000. So it's pretty cool. I just want to thank everyone again for watching the content. Hope it's useful. And for everyone that's using their time or spending their time watching this video, I appreciate it. So thank you again, 10,000 subscribers. Maybe one day it'll be 10 billion subscribers. All right, let's see what we have in this. I made a huge stack here. There's just the big books, and we're gonna go over it. First book is this C programming book. This is like a Bible to some people, or it's not really a Bible. It's just like one of the original OG C books. I first got this when I took Introduction to C in high school. There was a crazy class. I totally did not get the class whatsoever. My mom actually had to help me on a lot of the homework assignments. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around pointers, but this was one of the books that kind of like started it all. Like my first real programming course told us to get this book, and that was a tough course. So I don't read this anymore. I still have it. It's like sentimental. This next book, Algorithms with C, I actually got this book as a supplementary book to help out with some courses I took during college. So this one's a little different. The first one I showed you guys was more of a manual, kind of a reference. This one is slightly more structured. It talks through a bunch of basic data structures, algorithms, and it implements everything in example codes in C. So it's pretty cool. Didn't read this. A lot of these books I don't read front to cover. They just have used them or used sections of them at different points in time. So that's that one. This one, random book, a neat guide to stock investing. So actually, guys, I didn't just pick my engineering books. I just literally got whatever books I had lying around. So they're not all tech books. This is a random like investing book because I wanted to learn a little bit more about how to, invest my savings a little better. So this is kind of useful. I read through like half of this, I think, but slightly helpful. You can't be oblivious to knowledge like this. So if you don't know anything about finance or personal finance, you should pick up something or something similar. All right, so this next book we have, this is a crazy book. This is the book, I've read this book cover to cover. It's like computer systems, a programmer's perspective. And I got this book originally for one class at Carnegie Mellon called Computer Systems. And it's written by Carnegie Mellon professors, but this book is crazy. Like, I still thrive. I still like use the knowledge that I got from this book, like day-to-day life. Like, I'll still reference this book up to this day. If I forget something, I just open up a page inside here and it has all the information I need and it's still relevant. So I remember this book cost like $150 when I got it at the bookstore. I thought it was a rip. It has $150 is a ripoff, but this is a really good book. If I could recommend like one book out of this whole stack, it would be this one. And just, if you understand this whole thing. Okay, next book I have is this huge, fat, look how fat this book is. This is like an algorithms book. It's a pretty famous one, Introduction to Algorithms. Like, it goes through a lot of different ones. I actually used this book. I got it for a class, but we ended up not using it all that much because we just used our lecture notes a lot. A lot of these college courses ask you ask you to buy these books, and then you just don't use these books sometimes, but this is one of them. I barely opened this book, and I've used it as a reference occasionally. Personally, I think books like this are a little unreasonable. Like, look how thick this book is. Like, no one's gonna read a book like this. This is why we have Google. Like, Google is supposed to replace books this big. Anyways, this book is actually a highly rated, pretty famous book about algorithms. Goes through a lot of them. I didn't look at this one too in depth, but I got it kind of because it was famous. So, all right, this book, Art of War. This is like not technical at all. This is like an old Chinese sayings book, old Chinese proverb book, but you know, it's kind of useful to read. All it is these short phrases by this guy, and they're supposed to be applicable to war, applicable to companies, applicable to your life. It's just some like Confucius say type of stuff. This one is pretty funny. Like, this one, I got this after watching The Hangover in 21, you know, when they play blackjack and they win a lot of money. So in California, I used to live in California, there used to be a lot of just random casinos you could go to, like easily. You don't have to go to Vegas to go play blackjack. You can actually just drive 30 minutes and go to any casino and play. So I actually thought there is a science to card counting. It's just math. It's not really cheating. It's actually, if you're good, you can do it. I never really pulled it off, but I was interested in it. So this is a pretty crazy book. This is the same green book they read in The Hangover to do the card counting scene. So it just breaks down all the math, all the stats, what you need to do, all the probabilities. And if you want to do card counting, which I suggest you don't do because it's probably a waste of your time, but all right, this next book I highly recommend. This is the story of Kevin Mitnick. I think it's an autobiography. I'm not sure. It might be an autobiography, but it's pretty much the story of this guy's life. This guy is like a revolutionary computer hacker, social engineer. So not only is he like a crazy computer hacker, but he actually does social hacking, which is like really cool to hear about. Like, this guy would call random corporations pretending to be an employee or kind of pulling off all these like social schemes to get access into their stuff. So this hacking, the hacking that you hear about in this book, it's not just straight computer hacking on the terminal. It's like phone calling, pretending to be people, tricking the system both on computers and not with computers. So crazy book, crazy guy, and check this out. It's a pretty fun thing to read. Oh, I have a Bible here. I read a few chapters, but I'm not religious. It's a random Bible in my pile of books. So, all right, this next book I have is a pretty fun book. It's called On Intelligence. It's about neuroscience and how like our brains are wired. So when I worked in California, I actually spent 2 years on this research and development team working with a bunch of neuroscientists to try to develop like a new type of processor that could like compute information similar to how our brains compute information, kind of like Terminator type stuff. So before we started that position, they made all the employees, scientists, engineers, they made everyone read this book because literally this book was the inspiration for that whole team. Like, we believed this kind of stuff was possible, which is how that whole research and department project got started in the first place. So this pretty much talks about how the brain is potentially wired, how memory works, how memory affects our like cognitive ability. It's pretty crazy. It just goes into like really details of how computer type processing is very different from brain type processing. So this is a really cool book, really visionary type of stuff. So if you're interested in neuroscience or if you like Terminator, you should check out this book. All right, this next book is some book that every software developer should probably own. I have a few of these books. This is one that I've kept around. It's pretty much, this one's called Programming Interviews Exposed. So if you're a software developer, I'm sure a lot of people watching are probably developers, but it's always good to prepare for interviews, and you'll always have to prepare for interviews. So getting one of these books, it's just a list of practice problems, solutions, things to watch out for in the interview process. I think I already presented this book in one of my videos, my interviews video, but this book is really helpful. Any book exposing interviews or talking through technical interviews is super helpful. You're always going to be interviewing places. You might find a good job now, but I guarantee you'll have to interview and do some whiteboarding again for other jobs. So getting through this pile, it's a lot of books. I didn't really organize these books very well. I just piled it all together, but this next one is pretty cool. C++ coding standards. So actually when I was working at Qualcomm, that R&D project I was on is when I first started using C++ pretty heavily. And one of my managers actually recommended these books to me. I call them these like thin red books because there's a lot of them. I have three of these books. So they're all the same. They're from the same authors. They're just different editions. Like these guys, the people that wrote these books are contributors to C++. So they know their shit, okay? And my manager just recommended me to get some of these books. When I was first picking up C++, he was like, if you really want to understand the language, if you really want to know how this stuff works and how to write C++ well, get these books by the people that invented the thing. So, all right, almost done. This is one more software book I have. This is another old school famous book. I think this was written in the 90s. Design patterns, elements of reusable object-oriented software. Pretty much like very standard software patterns like factories, observers, like basic stuff. This is kind of the pervasive software engineering or software developer type of stuff that is pervasive across all languages. So no matter what software or stack or language you're using, something like this is definitely going to be helpful. All it does is it just breaks down all these different patterns, and these patterns have stayed the same for a long period of time. So get this if you want to understand some of those. This is the last book, I promise. This is the last book, and it's just my Kindle. So I don't purchase real books anymore. I think, look, this is just the Kindle. There's a lot of books inside this book. So for anyone out there that just wants something very convenient to use, I would highly recommend getting a Kindle or some other kind of e-reader. You can literally just get one, hook it up to Wi-Fi, search Amazon, click a button, and you have some books all in your backpack. So get a Kindle. All right, guys, that's it for today. Hope you all liked it. If anything, just leave me a comment down below. If you have any questions, please like the video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you again for 10,000 subscribers. Hope to keep the content fresh and clean, and see everyone next week. All right, take care.